Bonjour, Dumelan, Sanbona. I think it ends there. Hello, we're coming live from Marrakesh Stadium. This is the place where Bafana has kicked off this 35th edition of the AFCON campaign on a very good note with a 2-1 win against Angola in the COSAFA derby. Now, if you know your football and you've been following Bafana's participation at the AFCON since our reintegration or coming back to international football, Michael, I'm sure you're still very young back in 1992. You will know that if there's one team that we've always faced in this competition, it's got to be Angola, especially in most of the matches. And now, to welcome you here on the Vodacom Diski Chats, we have our first edition of the Vodacom Diski Chats coming live from here in Marrakesh. And joining me here is former Bagania, a Bagania product, and also a proudly South African, making waves now also in the media space, Michael Martin. It's your first AFCON in this new dispensation.
Yeah, 100%. So coming in as a media, so completely different. I played in under 20 AFCON. So that was my first real taste of Africa.
Hey, tell me, which AFCON was that?
That was with, we were in Rwanda.
Oh.
Yeah, so we qualified for the World Cup. We were the first group after Benny's generation to qualify for the World Cup. That was obviously Tyson generation, Serero. Yeah, so we went to, that was my first AFCON experience. So it's a taste of a different one from the media perspective.
Now, I actually remember seeing you in that picture. Serame Litswako was your coach?
100%.
Actually that one team, Michael, you'll agree with me, that was one of the strongest under 20 team we've had.
Incredible. I mean, that whole group, if I look at the individuals, they all went on to have very good careers. Rama was the captain, Tyson, we had Darren Keats, Serero, Makocho, like Charlie, that squad, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are only recently starting to retire now. So yeah, there were a lot of guys who had great careers that went on from that group.
How does that kind of development shape up the senior team? Because if you look at the basis of this current senior national team, you've got players like Yaya Stole, under 17 World Cup in Chile, Mbule, Mukwena, under 20 World Cup in South Korea. I was with them there. And you've got Lyle Foster. That's the group from under 20 World Cup in Poland.
Yeah.
And you've got someone like Ronwen. He might not have played at the under 20 World Cup, but he played at the under 20 AFCON against Mo Salah at Dobsonville Stadium.
Yeah. But isn't that the ideal scenario, that your junior national teams are now starting to feed your senior national team? I think that's the goal, that you see guys graduate through your system, that says that what you're doing in the development that you're doing in your junior national teams, and that's sort of the goal, is that you start to graduate these guys up the ranks and eventually get to the national team, the first team, and get to Bafana. So I think it's an ideal scenario, and the fact that we're seeing that playing out is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And since your arrival here, what has impressed you the most about the organization? And I know we're going to talk football with you, but I also want to talk the new space that you're in now. What has been some culture shock that you have from following the game at home and following the game here?
Obviously, bigger tournaments, when you cover the PSL, different types of regulation around media. I think here at these major tournaments, you obviously have so much experience in this space. A lot more limitations as to what you can and can't do. But then the facilities that you granted, the media rooms we're given, the press conferences and everything's just on a grander scale. So it's very interesting to see. I mean, I'm an amateur in this game now. I'm coming to the legends of the game. So it's again just a learning thing for me as well, to see how everything works, sort of sitting in the background, letting you guys ask the questions, and I just sort of get a lay of the land and see how everything works in your world.
But I'll tell you something. In this new media world, there are other things where you guys are a step ahead of us, because you're coming with new conventions as well. It might be my 7th AFCON, but even though I'm not a dinosaur, but I'm also trying to adjust to the digital world again.
Yeah, look, I think it's a perfect blend of sort of the digital ages coming through, but you guys have the journalistic background. You know how to frame questions, how to ask the right question, where is there something, the interest, the research that you guys do into your questions and stuff. Sometimes we go in there super underprepared because we're just looking for something that we think will perform well on social media, whereas you've come in there with a lot of research and you've prepared these questions, and sometimes we piggyback off your hard work. So yeah, it's two different perspectives and two different generations. So we have a lot to learn from the older generations. I mean, I don't classify myself as a journalist, but I have so much respect for the craft as well. So it's an interesting blend.
Very, 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 very interesting. But just on the footballing side, when you look at how this Bafana team has evolved, you would have listened to what the guys were saying, especially the Angolans. We spoke to Clinton Mata the other day, Jonathan Puata as well. Just the respect Bafana command. 27 matches unbeaten on the pitch. Yeah. We put away what happened against Lesotho. And the respect they command, not only how they talk, but also how they approach our matches.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the press conference with the Angolan head coach, who's obviously won the AFCON twice himself, and the way he speaks about Bafana, talking about how they were such a big threat. I mean, you almost got the impression in the build-up that he wasn't convinced his team could get a win against Bafana. Bafana almost looking as like a draw would have been a good result. He was very, very respectful of the way he spoke about Bafana, and it's a little bit worrying that we're now carrying probably a favourites tag, which we never had in the past. I quite like going in with the underdog tag because it's almost like under promise, over deliver.
I don't like this favourite tag.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
100%. So like it's always like, especially with the South Africans back home, when we used to go into these tournaments and then we finish third, everyone's super happy about it. Look how well we've done.
Exactly.
Now, if we come out of this tournament finishing third, is there disappointment? Like it completely reframed what we're going to this tournament to achieve, but it tells you how well this national team has done under Hugo Bruise, that we are no longer going to these tournaments as just to take part. There's expectation now.
But I want to touch on something, because I will tell you, the first AFCON match I watched was from the stadium, and the only game that I watched was against Angola, and it was our second game in 1996. I had visited my aunt, coming all the way from the Eastern Cape. So my aunt was staying in Joburg, and I visited her, and I managed to go to this game at FNB Stadium. It was a rainy day, and on that day, Eric Tinkler. Now that's why Eric Tinkler, they've always known Eric Tinkler for those thunderbolts.
Yeah.
He took us, I think it was a free kick, shot, and there was a rebound. Mark Williams followed up
in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, you know. Now it reminds me of what I saw from Bogazi yesterday, the way he struck that shot.
Yeah, and it's funny now you talk about the digital, because now I'm looking on social media today, I'm seeing the guys are putting these photos of like the crossbar, the guys are welding welding the crossbar because the crossbar is broken. Yeah, I love it, man. It was, honestly, if that goal had gone in, I was actually worried, because anyone would have said, we should have sold him after AFCON, don't sell him before AFCON, because obviously, I mean, that was my prediction, young player of the tournament. I think Mbokazi is somebody he's obviously had a good start to the tournament, but I think his ceiling is so high.
Yeah, but if there's one thing, because also you've been a professional footballer for a very long time, I think there's an element where people don't understand, where they are questioning why Mbokazi was sold so early. The reality is that if European teams are not offering PSL clubs the amount of money that PSL clubs feel that it's value for money, or this is a transfer fee that is worth this talent, there's nothing the PSL teams can do. They will go for the highest bidder. And in this case, I mean, if you have a youngster who has not finished even a full season, in top flight football, breaking a transfer record, the PSL doesn't have to wait for that.
100%. Yeah, look, and I think when it comes to that kind of stuff, there's probably terms as well. I mean, those clubs who are putting in those big offers, they're not going to say, we'll wait until after the AFCON.
Yes.
You're going to push up my price. It's like, if you want this deal, if you want with this offer we will be giving you, it's before the tournament, not after the tournament. So I think Pirates did incredibly well to get, I mean, yeah, as you say, a record-breaking deal.
And also they know that if they wait for the AFCON and don't clinch this deal now, hey, there'll be more suitors.
100%.
But also Paris is saying there's no guarantee that after the AFCON, we were here in Cote d'Ivoire. You know, our players shone brightly, but most of them remained in SA. Yeah. So there's no guarantee also that after the AFCON, there will be a deal. And also maybe Chicago Fire were like, hey, let's do this deal now.
100%.
And how important, Michael, is this kind of education for our game, so that our football fans also fully understand the dynamics of the football ecosystem?
Yeah, look, I think our football fans in South Africa are actually extremely educated. I mean, I think there is a lot of knowledge there, and there's times where I feel like almost they can educate some of us. When I like post something and then like the feedback you get in the comments, I think, okay, hold on, like I need
it's like
to.
Like you're dealing with Grog.
No, I'm telling you, like there's like I don't underestimate the football knowledge of our public. So I do think there's an understanding, but I also do think that there's just this love for our younger players that we always want more for them. It's like you see him and you're thinking, MLS, could he have gone to a better league? So I understand from that point of view, it's like we want so much for our young players.
Yeah.
You want them to play in the best leagues. You want them to play against the best players. You're like, could he have gone somewhere else? So I completely understand the South Africa, like the public sentiment around it. But at the same time, when a good offer comes, hard to say no.
100%. But what's this one thing, technically, that you would say Coach Hugo has, during this 4-year spell, which also sees him as the longest serving Bafana coach, he's done to transform this team? We know South African teams, when you put in an element of tactical discipline, were untouchable.
100%, and I think you've seen it again around this latest Mbokazi incident, which we won't go into, but he just has, there's a line in the sand with Hugo where he says, this is my way, we're going to do things, and he's got buy-in from everybody. And I think that's been the main thing, is that obviously success helps when you create success, and then people are willing to buy into what you're doing, so that's helped. But yeah, I think he's a disciplinarian at heart, and he has a very strong belief in how things must be done. And I think South Africa needs that, because we have the flair, we have the talent, we have the ability, but sometimes we just need maybe a stronger discipline and a stronger sort of team ethic. And I think he brings that. And he's also been stern, even with the media, sometimes, where we've had this public say, we want this, we want that. The public says, where's this guy, where's that guy? This is my team, and this is the way that I play. I love that.
What can you say about how he dealt with that lodge question? Us from South Africa, we know, we left all the lodge questions back home.
I think we all looked at each other, because it was Moroccan journalists who asked it, and we all looked at each other and said, you're playing with fire, yeah, we know what answer you're going to get. I love that about him. It's his way. Even early on, when everyone's saying, where's Zwane, he says, this is my team. And look, and to his credit, he also does change when things change. So give Lorch another 2 years, because he doesn't say he'll never pick him. He just said, but he's only recently doing well again at Wydad. So what he says is, he hasn't been great, he's moved on here, and this is my choice. Same thing with Zwane. He said, I'm not going that direction, I want to go younger. But then Zwane said, he realized how important Zwane was, and he played him. And he's not like afraid to change his mind, but he is, when he believes in something, he won't change his mind. It's like the whole thing with, we know Moby, everyone is like a running thing, joke, like, oh, you always pick Moby. It's like, that's my guy. I pick my players. You've got to sometimes give him credit.
Very interesting. Tell me, how were you impressed with the subs, particularly the substitution of Moremi? I mean, he comes from the bench and a debutant. And by the way, I think we had 5 AFCON debutants in this game. And the boy, it was just marvelous.
Yeah, the thing that he gives you is that raw pace. And I think Nkota struggled in the first half, where a lot of the time he was making runs inside to open the space for Sailor to come around the outside. And what you could hear in the press conference afterwards is that Hugo Bruise wants his wingers to stretch and that's always been the case. That's why he likes Mokwana. That's why he likes pacey wingers. You must run in behind. So sometimes when our wingers are coming in too much and not making those vertical runs, he wants that. So as soon as Moremi came in and he gave you that, he gave all those runs behind, then we could play those balls in behind, and he became such a threat, and he changed the game completely.
I'm sure you've seen most of the videos of the 96 team. The assistant coach, Helmel Mkelele, there are some elements of his play
100%.
In Moremi. Eh?
Yeah, just that raw pace, running behind, direct, and he's been doing it for Pirates. I mean, when he signed for Pirates, I wasn't 100% convinced. I don't think he had shown us at Amazulu that this is the player that he is.
Yes.
But at Pirates, like within the first few games, this is a different player. And now he's scoring goals. There's confidence there. He's a massive threat.
If a player is liked by Coach Benny and has been coached by Coach Benny, so there must be something there for sure. I know him from his days at Bizana Pondo Chiefs, JDR. Obviously comes from the Val, but it's good to see raw young talent, not particularly having came through some top academies, because I know that there's an academy in the Val, remember, elite, remember, so that's where he comes from. But one player that we also spoke to yesterday after the game is Apollos.
No, it's a very good moment for me, be able to score, but I have to give credit to the whole team, for fighting today, and even the bench, for motivating us from outside, that's kept us motivated, and I'm very happy for the 3 points. Yeah, at training, you look for the space, I managed to find the space and score, so I'm very happy. But most important, my goal goes for the group, we the guys fought today, and we managed to get the important 3 points. Yes, our coach told us, it's a very important game, the first one, to get the 3 points, because, Egypt is a very tough team. But we as South Africa, we always go out, try to get a positive result, and we will see what the next game holds for us.
Now, Apollos at the last AFCON, he played only 8 minutes. In all those 7 matches Bafana played, only 8 minutes. Reminds me of a story of a young real Ronaldo at the 1994 World Cup, only going there as an extra player, not a single match played, but he comes in 1998 and he was something else.
Yeah. I look at Oswin now, and has there been a better player in our national team in the last 2 years building up to this tournament? For me, he's been Bafana's best player 100%. In qualifiers, AFCON qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers. He is the biggest threat, always, for us. And he always has a goal in him. He's very, very direct. And I think it's difficult because you're looking at, you're thinking, well, like, we've got so many talented wingers, but he is the guy. He has been the guy for the last 2 years, and he delivered again.
So it tells you about the investment of, because if I remember, even at the Under-20 World Cup, in Poland under Coach Thabo Sonong with Coach Helman as an assistant. He was the youngest player in that team, and he could have qualified if we were qualified for the next. So there's been serious development on this young lad from under-20s or junior internationals, and from even the last AFCON.
Yeah, and I'm even thinking that the move to Pirates, I think we're all seeing it even in his personality. He's coming out of his shell a little bit more confidence, a little bit more vocal. And then he started well at Pirates as well. I think 100%. He's probably up there already for player of the season so far in terms of the first 6 months of the season. He's been amazing. Yeah, no, he's an asset to our national team, and I'm looking forward to what he can achieve in this tournament.
Especially when you consider that we're still going to the World Cup in the next 6 to 7 months, and I want to come to the poster boy because and I know poster boy. No, we're not saying he's the poster boy. FIFA has chosen Lyle Foster as Bafana's poster boy. You can see in every branding that they put, it is there. And you asked him a nice question yesterday in the press conference about the mentality and the quality, because he had that big chance before he scored, but he never lost his composure even after that. He came back. And I get the feeling that most people, or some people, don't really understand the role he plays in the team.
With the way the game went, I think probably in the first half we started really well, but we allowed Angola to grow into the game, especially after our first goal. And I think at halftime we had to have a chat between ourselves, especially and the coach as well, and we just had to go out stronger in the second half. And Yeah, I think in these type of tournaments and being in group stages like this, the first game is always the most important. I think we've got a good start now, a good foot forward, so we can continue now. I think the 3 points are the most important for us in this game, and that's what we really wanted. And we can only build on this from now, and we have to focus now against Egypt on Friday.
Yeah, there is this feeling, and I don't know how you feel, even in the media, there's this public, he hasn't won over South African public just yet, in South African colours. And obviously the Zimbabwe game as well, where we were during qualification, there's a lot, he struggled to win over the South African public. But I think it's because you often, especially when you watch a game on TV, you don't see what he does for the side. There's a lot where he does, where he stretches the team. He's a very good target man, even though he's not the biggest, he holds up the ball very well. And his movement around the box is very good. He just hasn't had the goals to really convince South Africans that he's the man that needs to play up front. I mean, I think I even heard some of the South African fans chanting Magopa's name through the game last night.
Yeah.
But it's a mentality thing, and it just shows you how strong his mentality is. Because even, I mean, he missed that chance with 10 minutes to go, and then a very similar chance comes, and then he shows his quality. That, I mean, you can ask as many questions as you want, but when somebody shows you what he can do in the box, in that moment, you think, okay, there we go. That's why he plays in England. That's why Hugo Bruce trusts him to lead the line, because he has that in him. And you're thinking, in the big moments, the big players, they come to the fore.
And his contribution is more than just about the offensive side, especially when it comes to the set plays as well, especially against these big teams with aerial strength. And
you speak about the header, about his aerial strength, because actually in the lead up to the goal, he clears the set piece from Angola, he wins the header, then he makes the 70-meter run to get into the box, the ball falls to him, he finishes it. So he also is doing his job from that point of view, and also pressing. Like, he doesn't stop running for 80, 90 minutes. And he leads the line by himself. So he's got to do a lot of work off the ball as well, and there's a lot of expectation for him to work off the ball as well. It's a tough job for him.
No, I just feel that too. And because also I've been privy to see how even the Bafana analysis guys are working around him, and how valuable he is. People, they must also look at his stats as well. And in as much as we've been priding ourselves in having a team dominated by locally based players, but if you see now, Michael, there's transformation that is taking place. I think in the last AFCON we had less than 5 overseas-based players. Now we have 9 here, and it's possible that after this AFCON, these numbers could rise, and I think it's all what we want to see.
Yeah, I always say this about South African footballers. As much as I want to see the best players playing in South Africa, I want to be able to see them in person. I also want them to go to the next level, because if our best players don't leave the country, then there's no space for our next generation to come through. You might have 100 good players playing in the DDC, but if our best players never leave the country, there's never space for them to make that step up.
Correct.
So you always want your best players to leave, and it's these tournaments which provides the platform for them to show what they're capable of. And I think the fact that we're going to the tournament now more as favourites, we do have more eyeballs on us for sure.
100%.
And you're looking at the respect we're getting. I mean, I think we're going into this Egypt game where a lot of those Egyptian guys in that national team, they know Sundowns, they know Pirates.
Definitely.
They're not looking at this game thinking like, I think they're telling each other like, we're probably going to have to chase the ball. Al Ahly has had to play Sundowns and lost 5-0 to Sundowns.
Yeah.
They've had to chase the ball where they've played a low block with all this respect for Sundowns. So I think there will be definitely chat in their dressing room that, guys, careful, this national team is dangerous. And if you do that to an Egyptian side and we stamp our authority in that game, then look, I think the European market, they look at that thing and think, the South African team can play.
Definitely. As we wrap up, Michael, and I'm glad that you're touching on this game in Agadir. That's the next step. We are about to travel, some of us today or even tomorrow, but I understand you're enjoying more matches from this venue.
Yeah, so we'll stay for a couple more days. We want to watch Ivory Coast. And then we'll head to Agadir on Christmas Day probably.
Christmas Day?
We'll probably head to Agadir on Christmas Day, get there for match day -1. We have to be there to see Bafana match day -1, and then we'll probably base again. We'll obviously rush back to Marrakesh.
Well, I'm catching Cameroon and Gabon. That's the
Lovely.
game.
Yeah.
Looking forward to watch from there. But this, you are staying for a good game. I mean, the 40. How old is Pelame now?
42.
42 now.
Yeah, so
wow,
it was,
legend.
it was fun to have him in the press conference now. We're joking with him like, can the legs still go? He said, I still got lots of energy. Yeah, it was great to catch up with him. So that's another reason I want to stay. Obviously got Edmilson Dove as well.
Dove, yeah.
We got Lord Kambala as well.
I love Kambala. Hey.
So yeah,
the people.
So we'll be supporting our Southern African partners there. But yeah, I think the Ivory Coast team is also a nice team to watch. The current reigning champion. So
MS Fire is cooking there. But as we round up and this game, I was telling you about the, I think 2011, Mo Salah versus Ronwen Williams. They are back now as captains. Back then they were youngsters, and I remember we lost 1-0, I think, in that game. I watched that game. But just the development or the evolution of Ronwen Williams, not just as a goalkeeper, but as the skipper. I was watching yesterday, on and off the field, how he leads this team and the big saves that he made to keep us in the game.
yeah, Hugo Bruce touched on that. I mean, when we obviously the momentum shifted after we scored the first goal and Gola really came and the goal was coming, but Ronwen kept him out for a while. Yeah, he is so pivotal to everything that Bafana is and what Hugo Bruce does. You can see that he trusts him. A lot of the messaging, I think, goes to Ronwen first before he relays it to the team. Mm-hmm. You can just see the way he carries the team. Even when we're looking for the team in the mix zone, he sort of drives them through the mix zone so that the youngsters don't spend too much time there answering questions. He is the leader that South Africa needs. Yeah, obviously I have a lot of experience playing with Ronza, and he's won me most of the trophies I've won in my career. So yeah, Ronwen is one of my all-time favourites, and yeah, he's one of the best goalkeepers I've ever played with.
I spent a lot of time with him at SuperSport United. You will definitely know how he's really developed in this space. I was with him in Egypt in 2019, also in Cote d'Ivoire as well. And I remember the night in 2019, the legend, Andre Arendse, was the goalkeeper coach in that tournament under Stuart Baxter. And man, Cairo International Stadium, Lodge, I think 80-something minute, 81st minute, and it just went quiet, silent. And I'm reserving that for Agadir.
There we go.
Michael Watson.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was amazing. Good chat. And then we'll see you in Agadir, and hopefully we book our spot in the knockout rounds in Agadir.
Without a doubt, because me and you both agree that we need this top spot. Not because we want to avoid Morocco, no, but we need to finish on top of this group, and I think I saw some signs from the game against Zimbabwe that we can achieve that. So for the first edition of Vodacom Diski Chats here in Marrakesh, focusing on this 35th edition of the AFCON tournament. Nazo.